You know that feeling, right? Where it feels like your entire state, maybe your mood, your energy level, even how successful you feel in a meeting is totally dependent on what other people are doing or saying.
Right.
Like you're a thermometer and your internal temperature just goes up or down based on the climate others create around you.
It's incredibly common, and the sources uh, paint a vivid picture of it. Think
Mm.
about those moments, like the examples of Mary or Steve,
Right.
where you feel completely at the mercy of others, kind of tossed around by their actions. You get emotionally hijacked. You replay scenarios endlessly.
Oh, yeah.
You feel trapped, like your options are shrinking.
Exactly. Instead of feeling like you're leading or, contributing your best self, you feel diminished, reactive. It's exhausting to live that way.
And the powerful contrast the material presents is this idea of being the thermostat,
Okay.
not just reacting to the temperature, but actually setting it, setting your own internal climate first
Yeah.
and foremost, and then, influencing the external one. You become the steward of this situation.
The steward. I
Yeah,
like that.
working to make it better for everyone involved.
That's our mission in this deep dives then. We're going to unpack how to make that profound shift from being that reactive thermometer to becoming the proactive thermostat.
Mm.
We'll explore how to step into what the sources call being in your power, using the insights you've brought us.
And it's such a vital topic right now. I mean, living consistently out of your power has huge consequences.
Yeah.
It can genuinely derail careers, damage relationships, erode trust, even kill your joy and destroy dreams. Seriously, in a world where ongoing stress is already wearing down our resilience,
Definitely.
figuring out how to access that internal strength and find, drama-free, meaningful work is more critical than ever.
Okay, let's dive into why we get nudged out of our power in the first place. The sources talk about some fundamental wiring in our brains.
They really do.
Yeah.
Our brains have this ancient survival mechanism that's constantly filtering information through the lens of, how will this affect me?
The self-preservation instinct.
Exactly. It's designed to spot threats. While our ancestors worried about, physical dangers today, as David Rock's work on Scarf highlights, our primary threats are social:
Scarf status, certainty.
autonomy, relatedness, and fairness.
Yeah.
So we're wired to monitor others socially, constantly evaluating our safety and standing, especially if we feel we're in a maybe less powerful position.
So that ancient alarm system is still running, but instead of a saber-toothed tiger, it's a critical email or maybe just a dismissive look.
Precisely. And our brains are primed to take those things personally because the initial filter is always, is this a threat to me?
Right.
The sources call this the indirect approach, something many of us learned early on. We figured out that we could gauge our safety or worth by looking to others, seeking their input or validation.
Okay.
But carrying that into adulthood means we keep giving our power away, relying on external cues instead of our internal compass. That's the perfect setup for becoming a thermometer.
You're outsourcing your sense of self-worth. The author even shared a really personal moment about this turning down a White House opportunity.
Yeah, that story is so relatable, even at that level. She had this incredible chance to contribute, but her fear of what important policymakers might think of her,
Mm-hmm.
her perceived judgment from others, it overrode the chance to make a massive impact. Despite all her achievements, the thermometer instinct letting external opinion dictate her decision held her back from her own power.
Wow. That really highlights the power of that wiring. So we understand why it happens. How do we begin to reclaim that power? The material introduces this wonderful idea of portals, pathways to shift states.
Yes, these are different ways to step back into being in your power. The first one is precision, from instinctive to intentional.
Okay, precision. When you're feeling reactive, out of your power, what's a core problem this portal addresses?
Well, the core problem is often just seeking immediate relief.
Yeah.
Your brain, stuck in that survival mode, just screams, make it stop.
Right. Anything to feel better now.
Exactly. You get so focused on what's wrong, on the pain or the perceived threat, that you lose sight of the positive outcome you actually want to create.
You get so caught up in the firefighting, you forget what you were trying to build in the first place.
Exactly. The insight here is that gaining clarity about the positive outcome you desire is incredibly powerful leverage. It breaks the trance of the stress response and redirects your energy. Think about Nelson Mandela.
Okay.
In prison for decades in brutal conditions, he wasn't just focused on getting out. His vision was for a free South Africa, for the positive outcome for his people.
He had a purpose way bigger than his own immediate circumstances. That makes sense.
Precisely. That crystal clear positive vision, a new constitution, freedom, that was the powerful force that drove him and ultimately led to those broader objectives. He wasn't just reacting to his imprisonment. He was intentionally moving towards a defined, better future.
Okay, that's a historical world stage example. How does this apply to, like, our daily challenges?
Well, a very practical application is the practice of defining who do you need to show up as.
Hmm.
It's about intentionally crafting your presence in a situation. You identify what your role or the situation itself requires, combine that with your strengths and aspirations, and condense it into a concise, encapsulating phrase.
Like deciding your personal superpower for this specific challenge. Sort of.
Kind of. It's about deliberate
Yeah.
presence. The source tells the story of Janine, who was leading this tough supply chain overhaul and felt constantly attacked.
Yeah.
She defined herself as a poised change agent. So by asking herself, what would a poised change agent do right now in those frustrating moments?
Okay.
She could stay calm, keep the big picture in focus, and maintain her strategic intention. This wasn't just personal survival. It was about achieving the larger change. And it worked. She became indispensable and was promoted.
And Liza, aiming for a promotion, what was hers?
Her organization needed someone strategic, impactful, and influential. So her encapsulating phrase became strategic influencer.
Strategic influencer. Got it.
She consciously framed her contributions using that language. My strategic recommendation is she focused on demonstrating that presence. Her manager noticed the shift and put her name forward for the promotion within months. It's about owning your narrative from the inside out.
That encapsulating phrase sounds like a great anchor. Really useful. So precision is about defining your desired outcome and presence. What's the next pathway?
The next portal is perspective, from casualty to creator.
This sounds like it's about changing how you see the situation itself, shifting your view.
Exactly. The core problem here is how sticky our beliefs are. As Henry Ford apparently put it, if you think you can and if you think you can't, you're right.
Right.
Our beliefs act like the CEO of our mind, filtering and interpreting everything, often overriding conflicting evidence.
We see what we expect to see. Confirmation bias.
Totally. Thanks to confirmation bias, the author's story about her foot pain and shoe size is perfect here.
Oh yeah, tell us that one.
She was convinced she had a medical foot problem, a fixed belief. She pursued various medical solutions while kind of ignoring the simple fact that maybe her shoes were too small after she bought some toe rings. Only when she finally tried a half size larger did the pain stop. Her belief kept her suffering unnecessarily by blinding her to a simple, obvious solution.
Wow. And there's that other mental trap, the fundamental attribution error.
Right, where we look at someone else's unhelpful behavior and think, they're just a difficult person, attributing it to their character.
Yeah, we jump to conclusions about them.
But if we do something similar, we excuse it based on external factors. Oh, I was just having a bad day, or the pressure was on. It prevents us from seeing the full picture.
Which leads to the solution, the 3D perspective. What's that?
Yes, it's about zooming out. Don't just fixate on one person or your immediate reaction. First, try to understand each individual's perspective involved.
Okay, empathy first.
Then, look at the interactions between them. Finally, consider the broader contextual factors, the team dynamics, the organizational structure, external pressures. The sources mentioned seeing that a leadership structure was the issue in one case, not just one person being bad.
Like the art world example you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. Initially, it was frustrating dealing with individual competitors' questionable practices. But stepping back and taking that 3D view revealed the real problem wasn't just individual players, but a lack of industry standards.
Ah, a systemic issue.
Right. Recognizing her unique expertise, this person then shifted from being a casualty of the messy situation to becoming the creator of the Hecker standard for the industry. She stopped chasing after competitors and started getting chased as the expert, benefiting everyone. It's about finding the systemic issue or opportunity beyond the personal friction.
Shifting perspective like that sounds like it requires a lot of mental clarity, which, let's be honest, is hard when you're stressed.
Absolutely.
And the sources address this beautifully with healing the nervous system. Feeling is healing.
This is foundational. When you're out of your power, reacting from stress, your nervous system is activated. It literally disconnects your emotional and rational thinking centers.
So you can't think straight.
You can know logically how you want to respond, but your hijacked emotions won't let you access that rational thought. Your wise brain is offline.
Got it. So the key is getting it back online.
Pretty much. The key is to actively work to reconnect those centers by activating the parasympathetic nervous system, particularly the vagus nerve. This sends safety signals to your brain and body, allowing you to return to a state of calm where clarity and intentionality are possible again.
And there are simple sensory-based ways to do this, like right in the moment.
Absolutely, what the sources call instant calming hacks. Just closing your eyes for a few seconds can help access the PNS.
Really? That's simple.
Yeah. Humming, chanting, or singing engages the vagus nerve, which runs through the throat. Physical exertion is another powerful one, matching the energy of the emotion with action. Like Tom hitting a boxing bag or golf balls when he was furious about his business threat.
That makes intuitive sense. You're discharging the energy rather than letting it consume you, getting it out.
Right. And beyond those acute moments, regular activities that bring genuine pleasure and joy strengthen your nervous system's baseline resilience. The sources also highlight the power of glimmers.
Glimmers, like the opposite of triggers. That's interesting.
Exactly. They're micro moments of sensory appreciation or connection that act as antidotes. Savoring a compliment, noticing the soft feel of fabric, a playful moment with a pet, a micro connection with someone.
Little moments of good.
Yeah. Deep breaths, stretching, dancing. These are ways to reconnect with your body's life force, a feeling of aliveness that's fundamentally self-loving. By proactively seeking and savoring these glimmer moments, you actually train your nervous system to recognize safety and return to calm more easily.
So it's not just avoiding the bad stuff, but actively building in the good stuff. I like that. Okay, we've talked about clarity, precision, shifting how you see things, perspective, and calming the physical response, nervous system. What's the next key to being in your power?
Next is connecting with purpose, from your small game to your big game.
Small game versus big game. What does that distinction mean exactly?
Well, the small game is driven by competitive concerns, needing approval, avoiding disapproval, that feeling of, am I good enough?
Uh-huh.
It's a reactive state focused on personal survival in a narrow sense, often leading to indirect protective behaviors.
Living defensively. Got it.
Yes. The big game, on the other hand, is connecting to your deeper purpose. It's about focusing your energy on driving larger strategic wins, contributing to a greater good, using your power as a responsibility to bring people along towards a shared, meaningful vision.
So it's shifting from how does this impact me to how can I impact this for the greater purpose, less self-focused.
Precisely. Think about Richard in The Source. He hired a talented person who openly stated they wanted his job one day.
Ooh, awkward.
Yeah. Richard's initial reaction was small game feeling threatened, derailed by competition. But he consciously shifted back to his purpose as a leader. He reframed the situation, seeing the hire not as competition, but as a wingman who could help him achieve his big picture vision for the business. His success would be amplified by guiding this person.
That's a powerful reframe from threat to leverage for a higher goal. That takes some conscious effort.
It totally changes the energy. Tasha Morrison is another example.
Yeah.
Knowing her core identity, change agent, bridge builder, leader, exists independent of any specific job title means she can activate that purpose anywhere.
Right.
Connecting to that core identity makes it easier to access your big game when you feel pulled into small game concerns.
And it influences how others interact with you, right? The difference
Yeah.
between people needing you versus people wanting you.
Absolutely. Playing the small game often involves indirect, controlling behaviors, trying to make people need you to feel secure and indispensable. But when you're in your power, connected to your purpose, playing the big game, people want to be associated with you. They want your energy, your leadership, your impact. It's a much more magnetic form of influence.
Fascinating shift in dynamics. What's the next portal we walk through?
Moving inwards, we arrive at psyche. From react to reclaim. This one is deeply personal.
It sounds like it's about grappling with our internal world, our thoughts, our stories.
It is. A major problem is how easily we turn our subjective interpretations of events into absolute facts. If someone cuts us off in traffic, we don't think that person changed lanes abruptly and I'm interpreting it as them being a jerk.
No, we just think.
We just think, that jerk cut me off. Our take becomes the unvarnished truth in our heads.
And these facts feed into our limiting lead stories, those core narratives like, I'm not good enough, or I always mess things up.
Exactly. Yeah. The source gives the example of Lauren, brilliant head of digital transformation,
Yeah.
plagued by, I'm not good enough.
Oh, I know people like that.
She'd hesitate to speak up or trust her decisions, then beat herself up for it. She was trapped in that loop.
So how do we reclaim our psyche from these stories? How do we break that cycle?
Well, the sources introduce a helpful concept from Richard Schwartz.
Hmm.
Seeing the mind not as a single entity, a monomind, but as having multiple parts.
Parts, like different personalities.
Not quite like that. More like different aspects or roles.
Mm.
Even the self-critical part isn't inherently bad. It usually has a positive, though maybe misguided, intention. Lauren's "I'm not good enough" story could be reframed as a risk management manager part,
Okay.
trying to protect her from potential failure or humiliation.
Seeing these parts as having intentions, even if their actions are unhelpful in the end.
Right. And a powerful practice here is consciously choosing a learning story from difficult experiences. Instead of just being a victim or a casualty, you ask, what did this painful experience teach me? The example of the friend going through a toxic, manipulative divorce is heartbreaking. But the learning story she chose was that this ordeal forced her to learn radical self-care, build profound self-belief, and trust her own intuition above all else.
Turning trauma into wisdom and strength, that's alchemy.
Absolutely. Those skills, forged in intense difficulty, became invaluable professional assets. You can choose a learning story from any challenging experience. It's actively reclaiming your narrative from negativity or perceived failure.
That's incredibly powerful, reframing the past. What's next on the path?
We move to proficiency, from invisible to invaluable.
This seems really straightforward about skills and expertise, right? Knowing your stuff.
It is, but it's also about owning them. The problem is often feeling invisible, uncredited, undermined, or getting fixated on perceived weaknesses rather than acknowledging strengths.
Yeah, you can be great at something but not feel like it counts, or worry about the one thing you don't know.
Exactly. The solution is to deliberately inventory and truly own your proficiency. See your skills and expertise not just as abilities, but as forms of protection and leverage. The sources mention the accept accomplish exercise.
Accept accomplish.
Yeah, it helps you acknowledge where you are and decide what you'll intentionally achieve with your current skill set.
The author realizing she needed marketing skills, for instance, was that it?
Yes, she was great at delivery but couldn't get clients. Acknowledging that missing proficiency wasn't a personal failing, but a skill gap to fill was crucial.
Okay.
Liza's promotion wasn't just about her doing the work. It was driven by her seeing herself as ready, owning her strategic influencer proficiency, and projecting that value.
Right, connecting back to that encapsulating phrase.
Exactly. Terry Cochran's deep health expertise serves as a powerful shield, making her indispensable and sought after by elite professionals. Owning your proficiency makes you invaluable.
So it's not just having the skills, but believing in their value and relevance, and maybe communicating that. Next, persuasion. From unheard to undeniable, this one is about getting your ideas across, right? Influencing others.
It is. The problem is the deep frustration when your ideas are ignored or dismissed. It's easy to take that personally and feel unheard.
Oh, definitely.
But often, people aren't rejecting you. They're overwhelmed, and your new idea feels like going upstream against their current priorities and concerns.
So yelling louder just makes them tune you out more.
Exactly. That's what the sources would call weak leverage. The solution is using strong leverage by showing others how your request or idea directly helps them advance their own motivations and interests. This is the what's in it for them.
YFT.
YFT. Okay.
You need to identify their business and personal interests and frame your proposal in those terms.
You're joining their current, not fighting it, making it easy for them to say yes. Precisely. If you're suggesting a new service, instead of just listing its features, you show the boss how it boosts revenue, business WIFT, and maybe aligns with their stated goal for the company, personal WIFT.
Makes sense.
The sources offer the before versus after exercise as a powerful tool here.
How does that work, the before-after thing?
You vividly describe the painful before scenario, the problem as they experience it. Then you paint a clear, compelling picture of the positive after scenario, ensuring that the benefits described directly speak to their WIFT.
Ah, contrast.
Yes. This creates a clear framework and makes the value of your proposal undeniable because it connects directly to what they care about.
Okay, that's about influencing externally. What about navigating relationships and conflict? That feels like a big part of being in or out of power.
That leads us right to partnership, from my problem to our solution.
This sounds like collaboration, but the problem description, they are wrong, they should change. That doesn't sound very partnership-like.
That mindset is the fundamental problem this portal addresses. Conceptualizing issues as they are wrong gives away your power because it means you're waiting for them to be different for things to get better.
Ah, right. You're still the thermometer reacting to their wrongness. You're dependent on them changing.
Exactly. So the solution is taking ownership differently, seeing yourself as the steward of the situation.
The steward again.
The
Okay.
steward doesn't blame her. The steward brings issues into the open, not to point fingers, but to build understanding and find solutions where everyone can ideally be in their power. It's how can we improve this situation, not how can I get them to fix their problem.
How do you do that, especially in difficult conversations? That sounds tricky.
Well, the guiding principle is powerful. You can say anything constructive in a way they can receive it.
In a way they can receive it.
Yeah.
Okay.
This means framing the issue not as the other person being wrong, but as a situation you need to solve together. And being incredibly clear and specific in your communication, the sources emphasize. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Avoid vague language.
Like Elisa, who was too vague initially. That
Yeah,
example.
exactly. A vague, let's try to work this out, doesn't steward the conversation anywhere specific. The author's example with the marketing writer illustrates the steward mindset perfectly. She was initially furious, feeling her time and money were wasted.
Understandable.
Her thermometer reaction was blame, but she unhooked from taking it personally and stepped into the steward role.
She saw it as their shared process that needed stewarding, not just the writer's fault.
Yes, she initiated a conversation based on insights into how their collaboration was breaking down. It led to a new process that worked for both of them, a win-win. The steward is the thermostat in action, unhooking from blame, focusing on creating positive outcomes for the collective situation.
Stewardship as a path to partnership. I really like that framing. What's next?
Protection, from silent suffering to sovereignty.
Silent suffering versus sovereignty. Wow, that captures the problem and solution beautifully.
It really does. The problem is suffering alone, taking on too much, allowing others' behavior to dictate your internal state, and crucially, not knowing or holding your boundaries.
Feeling obligated to say yes when you mean no, that's a classic one.
Precisely. The solution begins with knowing your yes and your no internally. The sources suggest a simple body experiment. Saying no to yourself internally or aloud, and noticing the physical sensation. Then doing the same with yes. This helps you connect to your body's wisdom about what serves your sovereignty.
Tuning into your gut feeling, and boundaries aren't barriers, they're paths to self-respect. That was mentioned.
That's a key insight from the sources, linked to Brené Brown's work showing that the most compassionate people are often those with the clearest boundaries.
Interesting paradox.
Setting boundaries is an act of self-love, prioritizing your well-being over the fear of disappointing someone else.
And it's not just individual protection. It can improve team dynamics, too. You mentioned an HR team.
The example of the HR team is powerful here. Facing overload, they didn't just suffer. They proactively defined their collective purpose, set boundaries like meeting free times, and designed their ideal day.
Nice.
This collective protection improved workflow and performance. Holding those boundaries requires committing to your own purpose, even when it feels easier to give in for quick external validation, remembering your why.
How about dealing with direct criticism or difficult people? Bullies, even.
The sources offer specific tactics. If facing unfair criticism, use data and evidence. Beth used the project database to show her manager her excellent deadline record,
Facts.
completely disarming his false accusations. With bullies, the advice is calm, firm, one-on-one confrontation. And if criticized, a surprising tactic, avoid immediate defense. Instead, find any small kernel of truth you can genuinely agree with.
Agreeing with the criticism, that seems counterintuitive, like you're validating it.
It does. But agreeing with a kernel of truth, yes, that meeting did run long, can often disarm the critic, taking the wind out of their sails and preventing you from getting pulled into a defensive battle that just gives away your power. It's about choosing your internal state over fighting every accusation.
Fascinating strategy. Tactical agreement. Where does that lead us?
To truth. From muted to making a mark.
This sounds like finding and using your voice authentically, speaking up.
It is. The solution is speaking your powerful truth, not just for yourself, but leveraging your strength for the good of the collective. Laurent Barton, sharing his experiences with racism in tech, is an example. His truth illuminated a systemic issue affecting many.
Speaking truth to power, essentially, or just speaking truth about power structures.
Yes. And it also means sharing your truth about impact. Even if someone didn't intend to harm you, their behavior did impact you negatively.
Intent versus impact. Crucial distinction.
You can be the steward, speaking that truth calmly to educate them, showing a better way forward. The physician in the source who was called emotional didn't just suffer. He spoke his truth directly,
Wow.
stating it was likely due to race-gender bias and asking the other doctor to reflect. The doctor immediately apologized.
That takes immense courage, especially in the moment, to call it out like that.
It requires accessing that inner power. Leah the architect is another example. She wanted a promotion. Instead of just hoping, she spoke her truth, presenting her vision and her needs, framing it all in terms of the firm's hijacked.
Connecting back to persuasion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She pitched it as an opportunity for them, making her truth undeniable and leading to the promotion and resources she needed.
And the idea of reclaiming words used against you, taking back their power.
Powerful act of sovereignty, like Ocasio-Cortez embracing a pejorative term. You choose how you define words. You don't let them define or diminish you. Your truth dictates their power over you, not the other way around.
Okay, we've explored many internal shifts and external navigations. What about the role of other people in this journey? We can't do it all alone, right?
Absolutely not. That brings us to people, from alone to amplified. While internal power is primary, other people provide vital supplemental support, like scaffolding.
Scaffolding, I like that.
Our brains are actually wired for connection. Mirror neurons fire when we see others, and physical connection is genuinely calming,
Connection isn't just a nice to have, it's a need to have, biologically.
especially when healing, particularly from shame, which thrives in isolation. The sources mention that simple physical touch, like a 6-second kiss or 20-second hug with someone you trust, can calm your nervous system.
Interesting.
Trusted people hold up a mirror, reminding you of strengths you've forgotten or reflecting the potential you can step into.
The Bragg's exercise sounds like that mirroring in action. What was that?
It is. Sharing accomplishments in a supportive group helps you own your proficiency, connecting portals, and shows others what's possible. Feedback from others also provides valuable reality checks and perspectives you might miss.
Like a friend saying.
Like a friend saying, okay, you seriously need to set a boundary right now when you maybe can't see it yourself.
Right. External perspective. And role models.
They expand our imagination and provide blueprints. Marshall Goldsmith, teaching top coaches for free, his MG 100, wasn't just being generous. He was creating a community of shared purpose, amplifying his own impact through others. You absolutely need mentors for guidance, sponsors to advocate for you in rooms you're not in, and allies.
Allies, using their privilege. That's becoming a bigger conversation.
Yes. As Jennifer Brown discusses, people in privileged positions can and should use that privilege to advance marginalized groups. Dave Smith and Brad Johnson being loud and proud about normalizing things like working fathers leaving for kids' games is an example.
Being visible about it.
An ally is often an upstander, someone who intervenes or speaks up against disrespect, even if they aren't the target. Not speaking up when you feel unsafe is being out of your power. An ally using their power helps shift that dynamic.
Powerful. That leads to the final portal. Position. From overlooking your power to owning it.
This portal brings it all together. Power isn't just a title. It comes from creating leverage, combining what you want with their reactivity.
Okay.
If you feel you lack positional power, you can create the means to have it.
Like Reese Witherspoon and Shonda Rhimes starting production companies because they weren't getting the opportunities.
Perfect examples.
Yeah.
They weren't seeing the roles or stories they wanted, so they built their own platforms and created their own leverage. Minda Harts used existing channels like writing a book to create a movement around the experiences of Black women in corporate spaces.
Using the tools available or creating new ones. And what are the characteristics of leaders who truly own their power, according to the sources?
They point to key traits. They deeply understand and focus on their why, their purpose. They are great decision makers, balancing input but owning the final call. They know the industry inside and out. And critically, they form deep, trusting relationships.
Which circles back beautifully to partnership and people. It all interconnects.
Exactly. Owning your position means leveraging all these portals, including using your power and position for good, being an upstander, and creating better outcomes for others.
It feels like all these portals really reinforce each other, creating a complete system almost.
They do. The sources discuss alchemy, the idea that difficult experiences aren't just problems. They can be alchemized into fodder for growth.
Right, the learning story idea.
When you can always return to a place of self-acceptance, grounded in your truth and purpose, even difficult people or situations become prompts for connecting more deeply with your own power.
Turning challenges into fuel for growth, not just surviving them, but using them.
Yes, it's
What?
about looking beyond the finite problem right in front of you and accessing the infinite solutions and possibilities that open up when you operate from a place of being truly in your power.
So we've journeyed from that feeling of being a thermometer, kind of controlled by external forces, to understanding how to become the thermostat,
Hmm.
setting our own internal climate and intentionally influencing the world around us.
It's a shift from casualty to creator, really.
Yeah.
Access through these various portals.
Mhm.
Precision in defining what you want, perspective in how you see things, healing your nervous system, connecting with your deeper purpose,
Reclaiming your internal psyche.
owning your proficiency, mastering persuasion, building true partnership, establishing clear protection,
Yeah.
speaking your truth,
Leveraging your people.
and owning your position. Yeah,
It's definitely not a one-time fix, is it? But more like an ongoing practice, enriched by consciously engaging with these tools and mindsets.
absolutely. It empowers you to navigate complexity, build resilience, and create positive ripple effects in your life and for those around you.
So as you reflect on this deep dive and go about your week, maybe consider one situation where you felt like that thermometer, reacting or feeling out of your power. What if you tried applying just one of these ideas? Could gaining a moment of clarity on the positive outcome you want, trying to see the situation with a 3D perspective, using a simple calming hack, remembering your bigger purpose?
Reframing an internal story.
Yeah, or owning a proficiency you have, thinking about the other person's wanafti, seeing yourself as a steward of the conversation, checking in with your body's yes or no, speaking a small truth, reaching out to a connection, or recognizing the leverage you already possess, just one of those things,
Mhm.
could fundamentally change how you approach that situation, what might be possible then.